Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays with me, Naturally Linda. Every week I am answering real questions submitted by you. If you want your question answered, check the show notes to find out how to submit your question. Now let's go ahead and get into it.
If you had to sum up what happened 3 years ago, what would you say?
Being in the right place at the right time, there are no coincidences, and I experienced a true divine appointment. It was just something that I could not have foreseen, but I'm so grateful for.
What do you want someone who's never heard this story to feel by the end of the video?
I want them to feel that absolutely anything is possible. We're going to talk more about this, but yeah, absolutely anything is possible. Like sometimes you just have to have faith that God is going to place you where you need to be.
Take me back to that room where you were sitting. What did it look like? How many people were there?
There were, it was up at Sprague Brook Park in New York State, which is about 4.5 hours from here. And there were probably 90 people in that room. It was almost think of like a, it wasn't a cabin, but it was like a camp area. I think it was like a cinder block building. It was wood inside. It was really nice. It was a newer building. And we were just sitting on metal chairs. Which funny thing, I went out and got the bag chairs that were in our car because they were a whole lot more comfortable after like day one. So we were sitting in the front row. Karen, my assistant, and myself went there. And day two, so the seminar was from Monday to Saturday. Day one, Monday, was wonderful. We all got to meet Barbara. We got to hear her speak and take lots of notes. And then on day two, that is when she did her hormone talk, her hormone lecture. And Karen and I were sitting in the front row. And towards the end of that part of the lecture, Barbara said, we actually need an entrepreneur to step up because people were having problems getting the product. There was a company that she had known about for a while, but they had like a 6 to 8 month shipping time, and like women needed this product. So she said, we need an entrepreneur to step up. And I looked at Karen and she looked at me and she's like, you need to beeline it up there when she's done with this part of the seminar and tell her about your product. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I'm not always the bravest person, but the seminar was over and I swear I did not even feel my feet hit the floor. I was like face to face with Barbara. And I said, hey, Barbara, my name is, Linda Bauer, and I have a Wild Yam Cream that I'd like to talk to you about. And she said, hold on for a minute. And I thought, oh gosh, she's going to like push me to the side. And she said, let me take my headset off because probably everybody in the room like was hearing our conversation. So after that, she's like, tell me more. So I told her more and she said, do you have any with you? And I said, yep, I can bring you a bottle. It was almost lunchtime. So we were going to go back to our Airbnb and we could certainly pick up a bottle for her. So we did that. And not only did we do that, she said, do you have any literature or anything like that? We went to this was a tiny, tiny town. So again, this is that divine appointment kind of thing. Barbara said this was a divine appointment. We went to this tiny little town that had a printer that jumped through hoops to get information to print, to give to Barbara. They went to our website. They copied all the information because remember, we were out of town. We were out of bed and breakfast. I didn't have my printer. I didn't have all those things there. So it was just amazing how things lined up. And so we were able to do that. We brought her the bottle. We brought her the printed materials, which was like a little flyer, and, with all the ingredients. And she said, let me talk to my daughter, Emma. I want to go over the ingredients and things with her. And then the next day, we had a conversation and she looked at me and she said, I'd like to endorse you, but are you ready? And I didn't quite understand that. And she looked at me again and she said, are you ready? And then I fully understood what she was referring to. I said, no, but I can be. So at that point, I think we were selling, because we were newer, maybe 40 bottles a week. And that changed the next day. And she said, I would love to endorse you. I've talked this over with my daughter. We love your formula. We like how you make it. We love how you make it. And she loved how the cream felt. So the next day, we got up from the bed and breakfast, and my phone kept dinging, 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 dinging. People were going to our website and purchasing the product. So that day, I will never forget that day. And I get a little emotional about it too. We met this beautiful group of women. There were probably 8 of us that kind of just kind of hung out together. And, they said, you need to go get your picture taken with her. And Barbara held up our product, in the front of the room the next day, and she wrote it on her little whiteboard like she does, WF soap. She's like, you have a local person that makes a beautiful product, and I am now endorsing her. So that's the day. And it was just an amazing week. We got to, spend the whole week with Barbara and the wonderful women that we met there. And Karen and I had such a good time. And then on Saturday, we got to hear Barbara's testimony. And anyone that's heard that, it's incredibly moving and powerful. And it has to do with her daughters. So that week will just live forever in my mind.
What made you decide to attend Barbara O'Neill's seminar in the first place?
Well, I had learned about her a few months earlier, and I was intrigued by her. I think I saw her on social media, probably, I don't know if it was TikTok. I don't honestly remember, but I thought, my gosh, here's a woman that is just sharing common sense, natural remedies. And I thought, my gosh, she's just going to be 4.5 hours away. So we made it happen.
What did it feel like in that moment when Barbara believed in you to endorse your product?
It was surreal. I had been, I started what was made down at Woodridge Farm, and we rebranded to Naturally Linda back during the pandemic, just wanting to help fill a need for people. And specifically for the Wild Yam Comfort Cream, it was a labor of love. If, those people out there that have formulated an actual, like a body cream or some kind of cream, how difficult it is to formulate something like that. You have to get your percentages just right. Man, if I would have just had somebody to hand me the formula, that would have been amazing, but I didn't. So I sat down, and a couple things come to mind. I had gone through trial and error with many different percentages in the ingredients, the oils, the herbs, the butters, the things like that. And I was getting a little bit frustrated, but I sat down, and I swear I felt God beside me, and the formula just came to me. It is emotional to me because to have somebody see the value in what was so difficult to formulate, it just meant the world to me. And to know that because someone like Barbara O'Neill was standing behind something that I made with my mind and my hands that could help support other women, I was just beyond grateful. So that's how I felt and how I still feel.
How did you find out she was actually going to endorse the Wild Yam Comfort Cream publicly?
I found out by witnessing it. She just stood up in front of the room. She had my little bottle, and she told everybody they can't have this one. There's some over there on the table. We had a couple that we gave away, but she said, she talked about Linda, me being from Pennsylvania, so a local woman, local to New York State. And she wrote WF soaps, that used to be our old website, up on the board. And she says, this is where you can get this cream. She says, I have total faith in this cream.
What changed in the days and weeks right after?
So remember when she said, are you ready? And I said, no, but I can be. So it was just Karen and I at the shop. I didn't have anybody else working for me at the time. So when we were in that bed and breakfast and the orders were just coming in, one of my promises I always made to everyone, my community, my customers, is that we would never run out of product, because that's how we got in this position. We filled a need because something else wasn't able to fill that need. So here we were So that was my promise to my customers. And I'm like, I have got to get to work. So I had my laptop at the bed and breakfast, or at the Airbnb, and I ordered bottles. I ordered more ingredients. I ordered all the things I needed. So when we got home, when the end of that week was over, we would be able to ramp up production. And that's exactly what we did. I hired another person. I actually got my husband to start pumping the cream for us. So it was like him and I on the weekends, and in the evening, we were out there pumping cream. We do like 3,000 of them a week. So like we just went to work, and I knew God was going to make everything possible to make this successful so I could keep my promise and not run out of product for the women and men that needed this.
Do you remember the first message from a stranger that made this feel real?
I do. It was I had met her at the seminar. We were still at the seminar when I got this message. I think she had come up and introduced herself once. Barbara kind of announced the endorsement and about our cream. And there was an email. She said she wanted to be one of the first customers to purchase the product because she had met me, and she knew just from those little interactions we had, the integrity I had, and that this was something that was real. So that was really special. And then she came up to me later. I don't remember if it was that same day, but it was during that week. And she said, "Did you get my email and my order?" And I said, "I certainly did." And I gave her a big hug.
Orders eventually reached over 73 countries. What does that number actually feel to you?
Again, I've used this word before. It's just surreal that we can touch that many lives, be even a small part of people in 73 countries' lives. It's just so humbling. And I am just so full of gratitude. This isn't about me. It's about what we're here on this earth to do. And I feel it's to serve others. And this has allowed myself and the beautiful people that work for me to be a part of something that's so much bigger than ourselves.
What would you tell yourself sitting in that seminar if you could go back?
I wouldn't change a thing. Again, a divine appointment. God put me where I needed to be. He put Barbara where she needed to be, and I wouldn't change a thing.
What has surprised you the most about the community that's grown out of that one conversation?
That so many women deal with the same issues, and so many of those women feel alone. So one of my other goals is to have a place where people can feel safe and share those concerns and not feel so overwhelmed. There's just so many of us are dealing with the same thing, but we feel alone, and you're not alone. A lot of people are dealing with the same thing you are.
Linda, what are some of the special times that you've shared with Barbara O'Neill that have really made this journey special?
Yeah, there's actually quite a few of those. I got to become very good friends with her daughter, Emma. She's out in Minnesota. And I was able to travel out there to go to an event. And I've been able to travel to London to be at Barbara's events and have our cream there. It was just so amazing talking to all the people, in regards to the cream. And then I went to Ireland. I've made a wonderful friend in Ireland because of all of this. She represents us over in Ireland as well. So I've got to travel to some different places. We got to go down to North Carolina. That was last year, and be there and represent with our cream. So it's like taking me some places I had never been before. So it was a great experience to be around some people that I'd never met before, or I probably would never have met if Barbara wouldn't have, endorsed our cream like she did.
What does this milestone mean to you 3 years in?
Boy, 3 years is a long time, isn't it? So much can change in 3 years. Well, it's allowed me to bless more people with positions here at Naturally Linda in the shop. It has allowed me to travel and again meet so many people, and continuing to grow the business in a good way, in a positive way, in a faith driven way. Just the opportunity to have our product endorsed by her and to know her family members and know her, it's just a gift, and just entirely grateful.
What do you want to say directly to someone watching this who's never tried Wild Yam Comfort Cream?
Well, we have built this company so that people can trust it. We formulate honestly with integrity. We don't greenwash anything, and everything is truly made here on the farm. You're in front of our 200-year-old bank barn with Miranda videoing this. So the cream, if you are consistent, I believe will bring so much support to you. It's hard to describe all of the different things that our hormones are responsible for, but the cream is such an easy, straightforward way to really bring balance back to your body. And you now have our 30-day happiness guarantee with any of our products for first-time purchases. So we're always trying to find new ways to build trust for you so you can be able to trust, the things we're doing here at the farm.
What's next for this community, this farm, and this brand?
Well, we'll continue to go down the path that we have started. We, God willing, will continue to grow. We've got so many exciting things in the works for all of you. We want just a little sneak peek. We've got some gatherings that we're planning that we are going to be able to invite some of you to come to who are kind of more local. So we're excited about that. That's a little like a secret. We'll give you more information about that. But just, we've got some experiences planned. We've got some new products in the works. And all of these products that we make here on the farm come about because of a need. Either a need I have, a family member has, a friend has. So we have some more beautiful products in the works. And just, we want to continue to be here to serve you. And yeah, so there you go.